Should I buy a new camera or not? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside, actually coming to the end of some fireside. That smokiness. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a photo day. We're talking about gear, basically. And the question is, should I buy a new camera or not? I was reading an article over on F-stoppers, and it was kind of interesting because they were kind of in the same wheelhouse as me, kind of, sort of, a little bit different. But it had me thinking. I've talked about this subject in the past, but I've not done it recently. I really would like to because I've been doing this for like 30 years. So I want to give you my thoughts on it. And of course, at the end of this, I want to know what you do. A couple of things. Some of you guys were looking for this mug. You wanted to know what this was. And let me see if I hold this up, if you can actually see it. You see that? It is tea time. You get that? Tea time. So I made this, I drew it, and it's on my shop. Head over to JCristina.com/shop if you want to take a look at that or any of the other merch that I've made or any of the other products that I've made over the many years, all photographic products. If you guys didn't know it, I'm the inventor of the focus pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, as well as the PRT, which is the photo reference tool for color calibration, and of course, all of the Aurora camera care products. That's sensor cleaning as well as lens cleaning. So all of that stuff is on there amongst a lot of other things that I've come up with over the many years. So anyways, I think this is a very interesting subject. And once again, I want to know your thoughts on it. Now, I'm using a new mic, and down below in the comments, I just want to know what you think about it. Instead of using the RE20, which is an Electro Voice, which is a radio mic that's been around for 50 plus years, I wanted to try something really small, this pencil condenser, just to see what it sounds like. Number one, if you guys like it. Sometimes my ears are different than yours, and some people don't like that boomy type of radio feel, number one. Number two, the whole radio look is just, I've been doing it for so many years that I might want to move forward a little bit. Maybe I'll take this pencil condenser, stick it up here, just pointing at me or something like that, out of frame. I don't know. We'll see. I just want to get your thoughts on it. Like I always say, this is a community type thing. It's not just me. I want to get your thoughts on everything because it is important to me. So before we get into this subject, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks, go over to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. They're all free. Go pick one up. And also, if you enjoyed this content, even in the least, throw it a thumbs up. That'd be very helpful. And click this little button over here after you subscribe. If you're not subscribed, why the hell not? Just subscribe. Click this little button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. And by the way, I think we'll be going live tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Yes, we'll be live tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed and you click that notification button so you know exactly when we do go live. And finally, if you just want to say thank you for all of my hard work, there's about 900 plus videos on this channel now. There's a little thank you button down there. You can click that and give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, that's fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be absolutely stellar. Anyways, like I said, I was reading this article over on F-stoppers, and they were talking about how they had a piece of gear. It was actually a flash. It wasn't a camera, but a piece of gear that went south. It broke. And the question was, do we buy a new one or do we buy the exact same one? Do we get the latest and greatest, or do we get the exact same thing that we had before that's now cheaper in cost? And this made me think about the whole camera thing. And do you get the latest and greatest all the time? Should you? Should you not? And that's what I want to talk to you about in this video. So as we know, once a year at least, sometimes many times a year, a camera manufacturer, maybe our favorite camera manufacturer, will come out with a new flagship model, or maybe an upgraded model to something that we have. Well, what ends up happening is what? We look at it and we're like, we start frothing in the mouth. We're like, oh, that would be just amazing. And if we bought that camera, we know what's going to happen. We are going to make better pictures and we're going to make better video. We are just going to be amazing if we have that new piece of gear. And the question is, are we delusional, or are these companies' marketing teams that good? I think it's a little bit of both. The delusional is definitely part of it because we look at things in a manner that if we have something better than what we have or what we perceive to be better than what we have. We're going to make better images or better video or better productions. But the truth of the matter is that's not necessarily the case. Now, today we hear how mirrorless is kind of like the cat's meow, right? No matter who you talk to, they will ask you, do you shoot mirrorless? And if you don't, you say you shoot a DSLR, they'll look at you like you have 6 heads, right? What are you doing? If you're not shooting mirrorless, you should know that you're missing the boat. If you're not shooting mirrorless, you should know that it's going to negatively impact your photo or video business, don't you? Really? But that's really how it is. And the question is that hype or is there truth to that? And also, it's kind of a little bit of both. Because yes, it is hype. Mirrorless is not the next best thing since sliced bread. I mean, it's great and it's good for certain things, while DSLRs are actually better for other things. The most important thing here is knowing which tool is best for you, or even more importantly, best for your client. The way I look at it is if your client is coming to you and saying, hey, we need more megapixels, maybe we need a better video or photo camera at that point, right? Because your clients are asking you for something that you cannot produce with the tool that you have. At that point, I think it's time to purchase a new camera. But the problem is the majority of people don't do that. They don't half the time even know what the capabilities are of the camera that they're using, video or photo. They just don't know it. They don't know it inside and out. And that is one of the major problems. Many people will buy a new camera because they have this new feature that is being discussed that their old camera actually does. They don't even know. So I think it's very important that we actually read those manuals and go onto YouTube and go watch 100 or 200 videos on the equipment that we're using. There's people that are giving us information all day long, like me, for free. Go and use it. Go get educated. I think that is so very important. One of the main things that I'm thinking about when I'm researching a new camera is, will this tool, this camera, make me more money? Make me more money, not possibly make me more money. It's not a possible. It's either yes or no. Will it or will it not? And if it won't, I'll probably think twice about it. That's my personal opinion, because I think that making more money, if you're a professional, is the number one thing that you should need to want to do. Obviously, second to appeasing or pleasing your client, right? So we also have to deal with the mindset of I want or I need. And the I wants usually end up winning because you want this and you want that because you've been just pressured into it by media and all of these major manufacturers just pummeling you with all of these great new products. So you say, I want. Well, you need to get past the I want and say, do I need? And if you need it, then yes, I would look into buying it. But if it's something that you don't need and you just want, once again, I would still go back to looking at the camera that you currently have, because it might, once again, do exactly what your needs require. So if we break this down a little bit, I think the number one thing is education. And if you do not know that equipment or that camera inside and out, I wouldn't even look into buying another camera. That's number one. You need to know that equipment. The second thing after education, in my personal opinion, before buying a new camera, would be purchasing a new lens. Buying a new lens can open up new creative avenues for you. A lot of people don't understand this. If you shoot with a 15 millimeter, a 35 millimeter, a 50 millimeter, a 70 millimeter, and a 200 millimeter, the exact same shot, you will get a completely different aesthetic from the image, from all of those different focal lengths. So for me, a lot of times if people get stuck, their creative juices have just died, right? I say buy a new lens. If you don't have a quick 50, buy a quick 50. That lens is one of those lenses that really, for me, just bring back my creative juices, right? Because now it is a set focal length. It's 50 millimeter. If I need to zoom, I need to use my feet to zoom. There is no zoom. There's no zoom ring, right? You actually have to use your feet. You're moving in closer to the subject, farther away from the subject. It is a different manner of taking a photograph, okay? It allows you to change position. It allows you to get closer to your talent. There's a lot of goodness when it comes to just using a quick 50, for example. So using a new lens, to me, would be number two before getting a new camera. Once again, education and then a lens. Another reason why I say lenses are better than buying a new camera is because, like I've said many, many times in the past, a lens is for life. A lens is forever until the mount dies, right? Until they discontinue a mount. But a lens, for the most part, is forever, right? Whereas if you buy a digital camera, unlike a film camera back in the day, which were pretty much egg timers, but looking at a digital camera, they're kind of like toilet paper, right? So you're buying a digital camera, within a year or two, it's tossed. You buy a new one. Within a year or two, it's tossed. And you buy a new one, so on and so forth. And you might have the exact same lens for like 10 cameras. So a lens is a better investment, hands down, always, than going with a new digital camera, period. So for me, what I do is, for my event photography, I use almost solely Canon EOS 5Ds. Could be a 5D Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, whatever. Multiples, right? Because I got plenty. So that's what I use for my event photography. If I'm going to be capturing fast action, like motorsports or just sports in general, I'm going to pull out the 1Ds. Why? Because they just simply work better. Once again, it's the perfect tool for the job. 1D works really well with fast action, motoring through images, high frame rate, and really good autofocus, and a ton of battery life because the battery's this big instead of this big. So it's just a great tool for it. And the construction of it is heavy duty. You can go in the mud with it and you're not going to have to worry about it breaking down. It is a true professional grade camera. And that's why I would use it for that task. Now, if I'm going to shoot fashion photography or product photography, most of the time the client is very interested in high megapixel, great color depth and high megapixel. So if I want something that has a ton of megapixels, I'm going to go medium format. So for me, if I'm shooting fashion or if I'm shooting product photography, I'm going to rent in a Hasselblad. That's what I do. Now, would I buy a Hasselblad? No. Why? Because it's a $40,000 to $50,000 investment that is going to depreciate quite quickly. Like I said, digital cameras are like toilet paper. I don't want to buy a $43,000 roll of toilet paper. Right? So I will rent it in and I will use it. It works out great. Now, if I'm going to record basic video like what you see here, I'm going to use this mirrorless camera. This is a Canon EOS R. And then over here, we have a DSLR, which is an 80D. And then above me, we have a Sony ZV-1. So we have Canon, Sony. Why is this? Once again, it all has to do with the tool. Remember, there is a perfect tool for every job, but not every tool is perfect for all jobs. Right? So you need to use the tool that actually works. Now, this EOS R works great for following my eyes. I love the colors. It's fantastic. This 80D that I have over here is a DSLR. It's not even mirrorless, but it does a good job at just recording me, following my eyes, and I have it laying around. I might as well use it. And then the one right above me, which is the Sony ZV-1, does fantastic with following things. So if I put that on product mode, it doesn't matter what I bring into the shot, it's going to follow it. So once again, it works out perfect, whereas a Canon wouldn't work out well. Number one, it would be too heavy up there. And number two, it's just not going to follow as well as that Sony ZV-1 does. That's it. Once again, there is a tool for every job, but not one tool is perfect for all jobs. You got to know what the tool is good at and use it specifically for that. So my suggestion is this: only purchase a brand new camera or new gear. Number one, if you are making money with it. In other words, if you purchase that new camera, you're going to actually make additional money by buying it. If not, you're going to go negative. Okay? Back to the want and the need. Understand your want and your need. If it's something that you just want, you probably shouldn't be buying it, right? If you need it and it's going to make you money, then by all means. The second reason to buy a new piece of gear or a new camera would be it saves you time. So we know time is money. And if you buy a camera that will actually do what you need it to do without you having to do a lot in post-production, that saves you time. So at that point, it makes sense because it's not only saving you time, but it's also saving you money in the long run. So that's great, right? The third thing is maybe you buy a new piece of gear or a new camera if it is going to provide you with more enjoyment. Now that goes back into the want, but when I say enjoyment, I mean it's going to get your juices flowing. People sometimes just get bored with their profession and they need something new to spark some life back into their creativity. For me, like I said before, I would recommend getting a lens before a camera or any other piece of gear, just because that lens is going to help you out a lot when it comes to creativity. But if you need a new camera and that is really going to do it for you, then by all means, pick up the new camera. But for the most part, that should be only if you do feel that this new camera is going to provide you that extra creative work. All right? Because additional creative work or better creative work is probably going to translate into money in the long run. Once again, this is for professionals. So to sum up, make sure that you're educated on the gear that you're using. Make sure you know that camera inside and out, because if you don't, it really doesn't matter what you buy, because even if you buy the next best thing to slice bread, you're not going to know how to use it either because you didn't take the time to learn your old gear. Learn that gear inside and out. And once you know it, if you still want a little bit more, definitely look into lenses. Buy different lenses, different focal lengths, buy primes, buy something that you don't have or something that you don't normally use. Maybe it's a really wide angle. Maybe it's a fisheye. Maybe it's this massive telephoto. Whatever it is, rent it in. Get something new to give you that spark once again. Definitely look into lenses. Education, lenses, and always make sure that your client is happy with the work that you're producing. Because if they are, you probably shouldn't look at any of it and just keep using the gear that you're using. Don't ever fix something that is not broken, right? You've heard of that before. There's no reason to go and buy a new camera or new gear that you don't know what the hell you're doing with it. You will certainly produce worse results than with the older gear that you currently are using. So I hope you found this at least interesting. This is what a 30-year veteran of photo and video does. This is what I do and how I do it. That doesn't mean that it's right, but maybe it gives you some food for thought so you look at what you're doing a little bit differently, you question what you're doing, and then hopefully you come up with the absolute best thing for you. Like I always say, it is not about the tool. It's not about the gear. It's not about the camera. It's not about the hardware. It's all about the wetware in between your ears. That is what makes the difference between a professional and an amateur. What you have up here and all of that education. So you are able to capture an image when an amateur could not. In the worst conditions possible, you still can capture the image. The reason being is because you know your gear inside and out. You know how to get that shot. Once again, education, education, education. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have, throw this video a thumbs up. That would be fantastic. Don't forget to subscribe, click this button, do all of those things. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.